finally training together. I love it.
Just like it's been
Look at him.
training.
Look at those jumps. Oh, he's so cute.
Look, I love when his ears flop when he
They
lands.
do. Oh my god. Oh my god, look at that animation.
It's so good.
He's gonna be a Jedi now.
Look, he's like parkouring a little bit.
Oh! Is he doing what I think he's doing?
He's doing great, right?
Yo!
Guys, Book of Boba Fett Episode 6 gave us Grogu back once more. And Grogu has a huge, life-changing decision to make. Guys, welcome back to Jersey Comic Crew. Chris and Rob here. And today we are going to delve into what Grogu will decide. Will he choose to grab Yoda's lightsaber and become a Jedi and train with Luke? Or will he choose Mando's perfectly suited Beskar armor and go back with Mando to become, I don't know, a bounty hunter warrior with his quote-unquote dad? Rob, what do you think is going to happen?
I'm getting real emotional because I'm thinking, like, why not? Why can't you just do both, right? Why can't you just pick? Why can't you pick both? You can have the Beskar armor, be ultimate defense, and then sword. I feel like it's like a video game. Are you going to attack more? Or are you going to defend more?
Going to upgrade your
pick,
armor and
right?
your weaponry.
But, like, for me, this decision, like, if he has to choose, if he's forced to choose, I think he's going to pick the armor. But really, like, the thing I wanted to look at before we even get into the which one is he going to do, what's going to happen if he chooses that, Chris, is this idea of what a Jedi is, right?
Yeah.
And what a Mandalorian is, right? Because the episode before, we saw that Mando has to, quote-unquote, repent, right? Because he took off his helmet. And the Darksaber is this balance and duality of Mandalorian and Jedi, right? The first of its kind. And now we're kind of seeing that again from, like, two different avenues, right? We're seeing the Mandalorian, who now has a lightsaber, the Darksaber, and has to learn the Jedi way of the world. And now we have this essentially Jedi creature who went through training and, like, I guess forgot it. And like Luke even said, like, he's remembering more than he's learning, right? And now maybe he's going to make his venture into the Mandalorian side of things, and both the paths they're going to cross, and kind of create this new temple of, like, oh, Mandalorian Jedi hybrids that are going to be a thing in the future. But ultimately, like, putting that aside, right, whether it's going to be the hybrid of the two, if he has to pick, I think he's going to pick the armor. He's going to go back to Mando and spend time with him, because even Luke said, like, a short time for you is a long time for other people. So he might be like, okay, in the short time that he has, I'm going to spend that time with Mando, with Din Djarin, and then afterwards, I could learn again more with the Force if I have to choose.
Interesting. So I'm on the opposite side. I think he's going to choose the saber.
I know.
And this is why, guys, because, you know, we saw between Mandalorian season 1 and 2, Grogu obviously becomes very attached to him. But the question that, especially if you go back and watch those episodes, Rob and I asked almost every week, like, he basically needed to find a babysitter for Grogu every episode.
He's a liability,
right? And he became a liability. Everyone was after him. He's known as a Jedi. He can't really go with Mando to do these dangerous tasks because you're telling the entire galaxy that the Jedi still exist. And even with Grogu getting more talented and more trained, and now you see him jumping around and he's getting better with the Force, that also is still a liability. He's going to be a target again. And I think Mando, next season for him, has to deal with Bo-Katan, has to deal with the Darksaber, has to deal with going back to Mandalore and seeing what's left, right? And whatever that's going to come with Boba Fett and everybody else, and the Armorer and all those people. So I think that is a story that doesn't necessarily need Grogu, and I hate that I'm saying that too, guys, because I love Grogu. I have the Grogu in my house, the full size one, like, yes, the expensive one.
I get that, like, it doesn't need it, but I also think for the same reasons he's needed, right? Like, he needs somebody to teach him and walk him through the ways of the Force if Mando is going to become that person that wields both and has to rule Mandalore under the reign of Boba Fett, whatever they're going to do with the storyline, right? And, like, if he wants to learn how to use the saber better, right? And he needs to get stronger. I know he has to put distance between Grogu. He's not going to visit Grogu for a while, right? He's going to do some stuff and then go to him later, presumably in Mando season 3. It just makes sense to me that, like, if Grogu chooses the saber, I don't think he will, but, like, let's say he does, right? And he's going to train under Luke, right? I can see that being a likely result, because then Mando comes back to Luke for training again, becomes the second pupil for him, and then we have a training montage of the two of them learning how to use lightsaber battles and how to fight and how to be at one's mind. And like Luke starts to realize that like maybe the Jedi isn't right, maybe there is another path, like that neutral gray Jedi kind of stuff, which we saw in the future in the trilogy movies, right? He's like, I know this, there's not one way for somebody. And maybe like he thought that because he thinks back to his first two students, like these guys who are obviously hybrids and not traditional Jedi, moving forward but taking on the values and traditions of Jedi. So maybe that could be it.
I mean, you do have a point there, right? Like Luke didn't become a Jedi in the traditional sense.
No.
He started very late. He became because his father. He was kind of like this pilot. But I don't think Mando has any type of midichlorian like Jedi science in him. I don't think he's going to be able to use the Force. And I also think you have other options to train him with the Darksaber, whether it's Ahsoka Tano, whether it's Bo-Katan, whether it's even Sabine Wren, who will probably be in the Ahsoka show.
Oh, that's
right. We just had a huge casting with the Ahsoka show. Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Ooh, very
could
true.
That be Sabine? That's someone who knows how to use the Darksaber as well. So I think as far as Grogu, and Grogu's not ready to train anybody, right? Like Grogu is just starting this.
But he could be like a Padawan, like a partner with him, right? He could be like a sparring partner, like a rival, essentially in that aspect.
I think the show has told us enough, like that every time we see Mandalorian, right? Even when he gets to Cobb Vanth again, oh, where's the little guy? You know, I brought him back to his own kind. I think we've gone through this enough at this point to say Grogu is back with his own kind. We will catch up with Grogu every once in a while, right, guys?
Maybe.
We're gonna see him. This isn't gonna be, oh my God, we're never gonna see Grogu again. I think every show is gonna have a moment where we go back and see his progress. And the fact that he's Luke Skywalker's first pupil is just heartwarmingly beautiful. I think this is showing we're more gonna come full circle, right? Yoda trained Luke Skywalker.
Yeah.
Luke just did the same kind of stuff that Yoda did, right? With the backpack, jumping through, the jungle, doing all the Force stuff with the frogs like he did with the rocks, training Grogu with, how Ben trained him with the actual little machine thing. It's going to be, I think in the heart of hearts, Grogu's going to pick the lightsaber if he gets over what happened to him in his past.
Oh, that's true. I get that. And I could also see this being Star Wars, like, play for the years down the line for, like, what happens after the sequel trilogy, and they need a new master, and it could be Grogu, and everybody loses their mind, and, like, the main guy could be Grogu, and, like, he's young doing all these flips and stuff. I do understand the need for separation for Grogu, right? Because Grogu needs to grow as an individual for a little bit. Mando needs to grow as an individual for a little bit, and then they could reconnect. The reason I know they're going to reconnect is because how his ship was built. We like that's a solid, it's a fact. The when is questionable. I do think though this question that Luke posed. One last thing, I think it's a false thing. What I mean by that,
ooh, interesting. Like it's a training thing.
I think it's a test. I think he wants him to pick the armor, because then it's Grogu acknowledging what's going on in his heart. And then Luke is like, hey, I know you're going through a lot. I understand what that's like. I'm going to train you in a way that different Jedi aren't. You're going to be the best of both worlds like nobody else could be. I could definitely see this being a Jedi Master trick test, right? And it's like so easier for him to pick like one or the other. I feel like it doesn't really matter what he picks, right? Because if he picks the lightsaber, he's like, are you doing this because you're forcing yourself because your heart wants to do this and you're not really into this? We need to have a conversation. Oh, you're picking the armor? Cool, you really love this guy, but now I'm going to train you in a way that's different. So when you join up with him, you're going to be able to defend yourself and defend him. So I think it's a Jedi trick. It doesn't even matter what he picks.
Interesting. That's an interesting thought, Rob, because like Luke even went through this, right? During Empire Strikes Back, when he was, going back to help his friends on Cloud City through the Force, where he saw the visions. Yeah. And Yoda's like, you cannot face Vader right now. Your training isn't done. You're gonna get killed, and you're the last of the Jedi. We need you, right?
You're demolished.
And he, lost a hand and fell down a shaft and somehow survived. And we had that epic scene, but Luke has gone through this, and I think the reason I'm edging towards the Jedi side of this, Rob, is because we got kind of the greatest explanation of what the Jedi feel and do back in the prequel trilogy with Anakin and Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
It's, it's when Anakin is explaining to Padme kind of how the Jedi work, right? They don't have attachments, but they're also encouraged to love, to fall in love, to have friendships and people they love and rely on, because that helps them in the Force, right? It's the positive side, it's the light side.
Yeah.
And I know it wasn't written as well as it should have been, but that was a great explanation to not only what we kind of saw in Luke, but also kind of what Grogu's going through right now, right? Where he's separated from Mando, but he's also trying to figure out his own path. And again, I think there's a big, kind of backward situation going here with Grogu's past. We saw a little bit of glimpse of Order 66 of him at the Jedi Temple. 3 Jedis who I'm still trying to figure out who they are, but 3 Jedis who were protecting him, and then he kind of has blocked this out because it's such a traumatic event. So I think if he could get past that, that's where he could become a full-fledged Jedi possibly. And I still think he's going to become a Jedi.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. What is Grogu going to choose? Is he going to choose the Beskar armor, or is he going to choose Master Yoda's lightsaber and follow the way of the Force? Let us know your thoughts down below.
And guys, thanks so much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, like, it really helps the channel out a lot. If you're new, subscribe, turn on those notifications. You do not want to miss any more of our Book of Boba Fett coverage.
You don't.
Big episode. The finale is next week. You do not want to miss it. We'll be right here for you. We hope everyone had a great day out there and loved this episode as much as we did. And if you missed anything, make sure to check it out right here on the channel. And as always, my name is Chris Heller. That is Rob Moran. We are the Jersey Comic Crew, and we'll see you next time.